Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite_UK. Follow us to explore in-depth sports insights. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
The match held to mark the inauguration of 1NZ Stadium in Christchurch is not merely a sporting event, but also carries multiple layers of meaning, from a symbol of urban regeneration and local pride to bold tactical experiments that could influence the future of both individual players and national teams. The most notable point of attention is undoubtedly head coach Rob Penney's decision to deploy Leicester Fainga'anuku in a completely unfamiliar role compared to his usual profile. A player long associated with the backline, especially as a centre or winger, has now been named in the starting lineup as a forward. This is not just a tactical adjustment, but a genuine test of limits. In elite sport, where every detail is optimized, such a gamble cannot be random. It reflects the coaching staff's confidence in Fainga'anuku's adaptability, physicality, and rugby intelligence. Personally, I see this as both a risky and necessary move. Risky, because any change carries uncertainty, especially at a time when the team is trying to recover form after two disappointing defeats.
But it is also necessary, because sticking to familiar patterns would make it difficult to achieve breakthroughs. Sport, like life, sometimes requires sharp turns to open new directions. In this case, Fainga'anuku becomes a symbol of that experimentation. The fact that he has previously played as a centre in a few matches shows that this is not an entirely foreign idea. However, starting in the forwards is a very different challenge. A starting role means greater responsibility, higher pressure, and a clearer opportunity to prove oneself. It reminds me of moments in life when we are given a chance to step outside our comfort zone. Not everyone is ready, and not everyone succeeds, but such opportunities are what reveal our true potential. Rob Penney's comments suggest that he sees not only technical ability but also strong psychological traits in the player. Someone who enjoys space and thrives under pressure is exactly the type who can shine on special occasions. This becomes even more meaningful in the context of a newly inaugurated stadium, where all attention is heightened and emotions are amplified.
In such an environment, selecting a player who can handle pressure well is a logical decision. The trend of using versatile players is increasingly common in modern rugby. A player capable of covering multiple positions gives a team greater tactical flexibility and unpredictability. However, it also raises concerns about the balance between versatility and lack of a fixed role. If not managed properly, a player may end up not excelling in any position. Therefore, this decision is not only an experiment but also a balancing act between unlocking potential and preserving strengths. What stands out to me is how players and coaches describe the new stadium. They see it not just as a venue, but as the heart of the city, a symbol of what the community deserves. This highlights a deeply human aspect of sport, the connection between teams and their communities. A stadium is not built only from concrete and steel, but also from expectations, trust, and emotion. When players step onto the field, they represent not only themselves or their team, but also an entire region.
Because of this, the pressure in this match is not purely technical, but also symbolic. After 2 losses in Australia, the team clearly needs a psychological lift. There is nothing more fitting than a new stadium and a fresh start to provide that spark. However, inspiration alone is not enough. What matters is how that inspiration is translated into concrete performance on the field. Looking at the lineup, there is a clear balance between experience and youth, between established names and players seeking opportunities. The presence of several players with All Blacks experience in the attacking structure shows that the team is not lacking quality. The issue lies in connecting these pieces together. A strong lineup on paper does not guarantee success if cohesion and tactical discipline are missing. A key lesson I take from this is that opportunity often comes with risk, and how we respond to it determines a great deal. Fainga'anuku may succeed or struggle in his new role, but what matters most is that he is willing to try and is given the chance to do so. In life, such chances are not always available. When they do appear, stepping outside the familiar can be essential for growth.
Rather than focusing only on win-loss outcomes, it may be more meaningful to pay attention to the process, the experiments and efforts behind them. A team willing to change and take risks can sometimes be more admirable than one that always plays it safe. Of course, fans want victories, but focusing only on results can cause us to miss deeper stories. Moreover, the stadium's inauguration reminds us that sport does not exist in isolation. It is closely tied to society, culture, and people. A new stadium can generate positive energy not only for the team but also for the wider community. It becomes a place where people gather, share emotions, and create collective memories. In an increasingly fragmented world, Such spaces are especially important. At the same time, it must be acknowledged objectively that not all experiments succeed. If Fainga'anuku struggles to adapt or if the team continues to underperform, Penney's decision may face criticism. That is the downside of boldness. You must accept the possibility of failure. But as mentioned, without trying, there is no chance for change. Regardless of the final outcome, what matters most is the spirit of thinking boldly, acting decisively, and taking responsibility for one's choices. That lesson applies not only in sport, but in any area of life.
Scrum Masters Elite_UK bids farewell. Dare to try, dare to change, because today's turning point shapes tomorrow's future.